All right, now our attention to another story we're tracking here on WION Dispatch this evening. China chose its moment and it came at the close of 2017. Now, typically, it was a few days after the national security advisors of India and China met in New Delhi for another round of fruitless consultations on the border. Government sources told WION that on December 28, a patrol of the Indo-Tibetan Border Police observed some civilians undertaking track alignment activity, which is a euphemism for road building. Now, this activity was observed in the area of Tooting in Arunachal Pradesh's upper Siang district, which you are seeing on your screens right now. Now, it's roughly where the Brahmaputra enters India from Tibet. Let's take a look at what happened in Tooting. The sources said the depth of intrusion was 1 kilometer. The civilians were identified as Chinese nationals. The patrol ordered them out of the area, and the Chinese nationals complied, returning to their side of the border. The sources also said that Chinese construction equipment remains very much on the Indian side. The sources adding that there was no standoff and that no force was used by either side. But media reports quoted other sources as saying that India has confiscated 2 Chinese bulldozers and locals are not being allowed to travel beyond Tooting, suggesting therefore that some kind of a face-off or standoff may have taken place or could even be continuing. Since the area is remote, it's hard to get an accurate picture of what may be going on. All right, I have with me WION's senior editor Surya Gangadharan. Surya, what do you make of this latest avoidable provocation from the Chinese?
Well, I wonder about the avoidable because I think there is a Chinese strategy behind this. When you look back, you realize that for all the dialogue that has been going on between India and China on resolving the border dispute, one finally ends up with the impression that the Chinese are not serious, because it doesn't take really much to exchange maps on your disputed frontier, if both sides are sincere, that is. And until now, we've only exchanged maps on the central sector. And China again seems to show no further interest in going forward on that. So the obvious conclusion one can draw here is that the Chinese are not serious.
Also, very quickly, Surya, what might be the Chinese motivation in all of these various incursions in the last many years now? Is it to unilaterally change the status quo on the ground at the LAC?
Well, there are a number of reasons there. One obviously is to change the status quo on that along the line of actual control. And as you're aware, it's only in the last 10-15 odd years that India has been pushing up its infrastructure and moving up its own border posts all along the line of actual control. Prior to that, the Chinese had pretty much free run over there. So that is one annoyance for the Chinese. Why is it that India is stopping them now when they used to go there some years earlier?
Right.
The other obviously is to ensure that keep India off balance. These constant border pinpricks give the impression India is reacting all the time to Chinese provocations. It gives the impression India is a weaker party. So there's a psychological game also going on. And obviously, diplomatically, it helps China that an unresolved border gives them that much more leverage to use against India.
But very quickly, one final question, Surya. Is it nothing alarming in what's happening at the LAC, or is there something more sinister which many people in India might not be aware of?
Well, I think part of it is fairly normal routine stuff. It goes on throughout the year, generally building up towards the summer months and de-escalating during winter. So now I think given the fact that China has built up its infrastructure along the line of actual control so well, they have pretty much freedom of movement throughout the year. So in that sense, I think you can see more of these things happening even in winter months.